people of Southwest Florida. I am your host, Anita Mann. We have a very interesting show for you today. Our first guest is Richard Preston, and he is here to speak about his best-selling novel, The Hot Zone.
Thank you, Anita. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, tell us a bit about your book.
Well, it all starts with a man taking a simple hiking trip and discovering the most dangerous organism on Earth.
Lions, tigers, bears, oh my.
No, even worse.
What could be worse than a wild animal? How big could this creature be?
That's the scariest thing. You can't even see it. 100 million of them will fit on the head of a pin.
Well, if it's so small, how could it be so dangerous?
Well, the organism will cause you to bleed out of every orifice on your body. One day, you may think you only have the flu or even malaria. 4 hours later, you could be transformed into the deadliest monster on Earth.
What could do such a thing?
A virus, specifically Marburg and the 3 strains of Ebola discussed in my book.
What makes this virus so dangerous? Understandably, it's a horrible death, but so is AIDS.
Well, I'm glad you asked that. My book discovers 4 different biosafety levels. Marburg and Ebola are on biosafety level 4, which requires a spacesuit and multiple decontamination zones in order to safely examine the virus. One small scratch, and the virus will invade the entire body.
So it's just a contact virus. If I don't touch somebody with the virus, I'll be fine.
Actually, one of the scarier elements of the disease is to become an airborne pathogen. I don't want to give too much of the book away, of course, but one section discusses crab-eating monkeys imported from the Philippines. These monkeys are able to transmit the virus across the room. Before you know it, the monkeys in every room in the building are infected.
Wow, that does sound dangerous. Let me ask you, what is the mortality rate on this virus?
Well, that's what makes this novel a true horror story. 9 out of 10 people who contract Ebola will die from it.
That certainly does sound like a terrifying true story to me. Now, I've heard that you visited Africa. What are you looking for?
I've been to the Kidum Cave in Africa where we believe the Marburg virus actually started. In my book, I discuss 2 stories of people who contracted the virus right after leaving the cave. So I went there in hopes of finding the origin and the original host. But of course, you must read my book in order to find out if I succeeded.
Well, there you have it. You certainly have me interested. Thank you so much for being on the show, Richard Preston.
Well, it has been a pleasure, Anita. Thank you so much for allowing me to discuss my book, The Hot Zone, a terrifying true story.
That's all we have for you today. Stay classy, Southwest Florida.